Hello and welcome back, artists and designers. Today we're going to go ahead and make some Bauhaus inspired tiles or blocks in Adobe Illustrator. So I've got my sample reference document here with my color swatches, my limited palette, my geometric tiles that I've started making, and a reference that I pulled from online that I can just kind of borrow some ideas from to get me inspired if you need that. So let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to start a new document and get ourselves set up. So we're going to do the 11 by 17 format, except we're going to switch this and we're going to do 17 for our width and 11 for our height in inches. So go ahead and do that. And we're going to make sure that we're in the RGB color space and go ahead and hit create. Okay. In terms of your workspace, since this might be the first time you're using Illustrator in a while, I recommend you go to Workspace and you do the Essentials Classic option, and that's going to give you some extra tabs and things here that make it a little bit more comfortable for you to use. I do also like to have the control bar up at the top, so I go ahead and click that, but I'll leave that one up to you. All right, first things first, let's go ahead and get a grid set up here. I think the grid is going to be extremely helpful for us. So we're going to go up under View, and we're going to go down to Show Grid, and I'm going to leave the default settings. The default settings, if I zoom in here a little bit, the default settings on this grid are 1-inch grid lines. So these bigger grid lines are 1 inch, and then you have 8 separations in between. I think that'll be good to start making our blocks and our tiles, so we're going to use that as reference. While we're in view, I'm going to go ahead and say, let's snap to the grid. That way, when we make shapes and things, it will try to snap to the grid. You might want to turn that off later, but we'll go ahead and leave that snap to grid on for now. So let's get our color swatches set up. I'm going to go ahead and make a couple color blocks right here just to get me started. So you can see I can drag that right over a 1-inch block, and we'll go ahead and duplicate that a couple times. I'm going to hold my Alt key as I drag over here and then Control D, and let's get a couple color blocks here. I could give you a color palette to download, but we know that Bauhaus works with primarily the primary colors. So I'm going to set up a color block of red, yellow, blue, just an off-white, not a pure white, and then a like a warmer black tone here. So I'll go ahead and get those set up, and I'll fast forward through the next step. Okay, so I've got my color palette set up here. I based these off of some of the swatches that are in here, but I modified them a little bit once I clicked on it. And I'm going to go ahead and do one more quick thing. And I'm going to grab all of these swatches right here. And in my swatches panel, I'm going to go ahead right here and hit New Color Group. And I'll just call this Bauhaus 1. Okay. And I'm going to do Selected Artwork. And boom, I now have my color swatches added right in, so it makes it really easy to kind of select and choose those color swatches from my palette here. All right, so we're going to dive in here and start creating. And our goal is to create, at least a dozen blocks. I want you to create as many as possible. I'm going to use 4 blocks at once, so basically 2 by 2 for my square. So let's just start with a square, keep it really simple. I'm going to go right here, drag out my square, and I have my first square right here. And then I could leave a square in between, or as long as I'm kind of sticking with the same square size, I think, to keep everything equal. Yeah, I'll keep a square in between for now. I could do it right next to it, but I think I'll keep a square in between. So I'll do my next one right here, and let's go ahead and add another shape into that. We can start again really simple, maybe do the ellipse tool, and I'm going to go right here in the center, and you remember if you hold the Shift key, you're going to keep it proportional, and if you hold the Alt key or Option key, you're going to center it right there on that grid. So let's say I want to have a circle that looks like that, and then I'm going to go ahead and choose my eyedropper with the I key, and we can make that red, for example. I'm going to go ahead and put my red circle right inside of that square. So that's okay, not too bad. Let's go ahead and try another one. Let's grab the rectangle tool again, and let's make another rectangle here. I'm going to start in the center again, so I'm going to go right to the center of this box. I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to hold Alt or Option again, and I'm going to drag this all the way out here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my selection tool, and I'm going to round one of my corners. Now you remember, if you click on this corner circle and drag out, you're going to round all the corners, which would make a circle again. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and click on one, and I want this one as well. So I'm going to hold Shift, click that one, and now I'm going to go ahead and drag those in, and you go all the way in and make kind of that eye shape or leaf shape, or you want something a little bit more geometric like that, you could give that one a try. And that gives me that kind of, I don't know, leaf shape, spearmint leaf shape or something like that. I could duplicate that. So I could take this same shape right here. I could Control C, copy it. And if you do Control F, you're going to paste it right in front. And I'm going to shrink this. So Control C, Control F. And then I'm going to hold my Shift and my Alt key down, and I can make that a little bit smaller. I key for eyedropper, maybe go pick blue or yellow, and maybe I want to switch around a couple of these other colors. Maybe I want this one to be blue. So I'm going to grab that, throw that in there. So you're going to kind of work your way through this, experimenting with a whole bunch of different tiles and squares. Use simple shapes, rectangles, circles. Remember, you have the polygon tool here for triangles. I will go over some more complex things that we can do in the next couple steps, but let's start with just some rounded rectangles and circles and see what we can't do with these tiles moving forward. All right, good luck. Get started on that, and we'll check back in the next video and do a few more advanced techniques.